Blog Talk Radio.
But we are making a stand, and we're waking everybody up that 9/11 was an inside job. And you are the minority. You are the cowards who don't know the truth. You're the people that serve this evil system. You're the people that serve a system that hurts innocent men, women, and children. Not just Iraqis, not just Afghans, not just Africans, but the people right here in this nation. You serve a new world order that attacks and feeds on you. And I'm here to tell you that you will be defeated. Your hours are numbered. We've got the energy. We've got the life force. All you've got is evil backing you up. All you've got is greed and liking to look at yourself in the mirror. Because deep down, the New World Order is a pot-bellied, chicken-necked ninny. And all the armor and all the weapons are nothing. You are nothing compared to good. You are nothing compared to life. And you will be defeated. I want the individuals out there, I want free humanity to turn themselves loose, to cut the chains loose, and to use the end of that chain to slap the New World Order right upside the head. You've got the power. You want to know who's going to defeat the New World Order? It is you. You're the individuals that are going to be able to defeat this system. You're the individuals that are going to be able to take down the New World Order. It doesn't matter if Ron Paul wins. It doesn't matter if they rig the election. What matters is that we're starting to stand up. We're starting to move. We're starting to find our legs. We're starting to build our muscle. We're starting to realize that we do have power, and we can work together, and we can take action, and that the naysayers are a pack of weak liars who have never had any successes in their life and who are upset and frustrated to see us beginning to have victories against tyranny. They don't have any respect for themselves. They don't have any vision, and they don't have any will. And they sure don't have any of the power that shines out of God's soul and energizes all life in the universe. They have wed themselves to death, and they will crumble, and they will fall, and for eternity we wed ourselves to life and to everything.
Now let's set the record straight. There's no argument over the choice between peace and war, but there's only one guaranteed way you can have peace, and you can have it in the next second: surrender. Admittedly, there's a risk in any course we follow other than this, but every lesson of history tells us that the greater risk lies in appeasement. And this is the specter our well-meaning liberal friends refuse to face, that their policy of accommodation is appeasement. And it gives no choice between peace and war, only between fight or surrender. If we continue to accommodate, continue to back and retreat, eventually we have to face the final demand, the ultimatum. And what then? When Nikita Khrushchev has told his people he knows what our answer will be. He has told them that we're retreating under the pressure of the Cold War, and someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. He believes this because from our side he's heard voices pleading for peace at any price, or better rev than death, or as one commentator put it, he'd rather live on his knees than die on his feet. And therein lies the road to war, because those voices don't speak for the rest of us. You and I know and do not believe that life is so dear and peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shotters round the world? The martyrs of history were not fools. And our honored dead, who gave their lives to stop the advance of the Nazis, didn't die in vain. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have the courage to say to our enemies, there is a price we will not pay, there is a point beyond which they must not advance. Winston Churchill said the destiny of man is not measured by material computations. When great forces are on the move in the world, we learn we're spirits, not animals. And he said there's something going on in time and space and beyond time and space, which, whether we like it or not, spells duty. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
All right, everyone, how you doing? My name is Joseph Gibson, broadcasting from Greensboro, North Carolina, 6 p.m. on the East Coast on Blog Talk Radio. 100% live, no delays, no screening, no editing. Everyone gets through. Those who have a question or want to call in, the phone number is 657-383-0616. I cannot really give too long of an introduction tonight because I asked a special guest to come on tonight and call in, my nephew, Alex Turgeon, who is stationed right now in Fort Hood, Texas. And we all know about Fort Hood, even if we weren't in the military, because we know there was a mass shooting there a few years ago, if you remember. And, of course, Obama called it workplace violence, even though it was really a terrorist attack. It was a psychotic Muslim who went off and shot. I don't know, but that's where Alex is at right now, Fort Hood, Texas. And I asked him to appear, and he said he can't stay on too long because, obviously, you know, he's in the Army, he has duties and obligations. But I asked him last night if he'd call in because, if I remember correctly, when he first went into the Army after his graduation, we were going to try to get him on. Unfortunately, those plans did not work out, but I do have him on the line tonight. So, Alex, you need to press 1, and I'll connect you. Okay, Alex, if you're listening, you need to press 1. I know I see your number on the screen, so you have to press 1, and I'll connect you live. There he is right there. Okay, because I had a lot of callers on the line, and I've got about 10 in the chat room, so I'm going to connect. I have to scroll down, up and down the screen. So if someone wants to ask a question, please just be patient. Just don't keep pressing 1 on and off, on and off. Just hold, because I have to scroll down. I'll keep doing that from periodically to see who wants to talk. But anyway, Alex, go ahead. Alex, hey, how you doing tonight, Alex? I know it's 5 o'clock out there in Texas. You're an hour behind us. How you doing tonight?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Alex, so you've graduated, and have you gotten your orders? I don't know if you're allowed to discuss that on a radio station or not. I mean, if there's anything you can't talk about, because I don't want to get you in trouble, but if there's anything you're not supposed to talk about, by all means, tell me. But have you gotten your orders? Do you know where you're going, or are you going to stay at Fort Hood?
Right now, I don't know yet. I'm not at my unit yet. I'm in reception for a couple of weeks. But once I get to my unit, I'll find out. Okay.
Tell me, what was it like in Georgia, your training and your boot camp? I mean, just like, because there's a lot of, there's people here who don't know what it's like, just like you, before you went in. And we all have those, you watch stuff on the movies and stuff, and you don't, like Full Metal Jacket and all that nonsense. But what was it really? I mean, what was it like? Can you describe it? Like what they had you do, how they prepare you, how they train you? I mean, I'm sure the drill sergeants get in your face and try to prepare you and mentally try to break you down. But go ahead and try to describe it a little bit. Like, what was the worst day like in boot camp?
Well, the worst day was probably a couple weeks before we graduated. We had to do our last field training exercise, and it was raining for the whole week we were there, and I got pneumonia. That was probably the worst thing.
You caught pneumonia, and what happened? You had to go to to the infirmary?
No, I just toughed it out and did the whole field training exercise. And after that, I went to the hospital.
Okay, and what's the field exercise like? What does it entail? What kind of physical exercise, or what kind of?
It's like the final.
What do they do?
It's the final thing you have to do in basic training for to be an infantryman. It's like nonstop missions. You eat MREs every day, and you do like ambushes and stuff.
Okay, so you're practicing war, basically.
Yeah, it's a simulated deployment. That's what it is.
Do they really wake you up at 4:30 in the morning, get out of bed, and stuff like that? Is that true?
Oh yeah, that's true.
You told me a story about that. A couple people, they got kicked out, and they strip searched the whole dorm Tell me about that. What, how people screwed up and actually got kicked out, because there are people that, screwed up, and it's not like a walk in the park where everybody makes it. Some people don't make it through the boot camp, and you made it, so congratulations. But some people don't. So tell me about the people who didn't, like how they screwed up or how they failed.
Well, there was one guy, he decided to keep his cell phone, and the drill sergeant found out, and they searched our whole barracks, and they just destroyed everything. Tipped our lockers over, tore everything apart. They found the phone, but they searched everything.
Wow. And what happened to that guy? He got kicked out?
Yeah, he got chaptered out of the Army.
Wow. And that's pretty embarrassing to be
lying to an NCO. He kept his phone. I don't know what rule that breaks in UCMJ, but I know he lied to an NCO, and that's like one of the major offenses.
That's like a major offense. So if you're asked a question and you lie, that's major. Mm-hmm. You're out of there, basically. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Well, hey, that's respectful. I can understand it. How about were there some people who could not take the physical training?
Well, there was about 15 people that didn't graduate because they couldn't pass the Army physical fitness test. That's a graduation requirement. So they're recycled, so they have to do basic training all over again.
Oh, okay. So if they fail the basic training, they can go back through it again, right?
Yes.
Okay. But you made it
and then
the first
some
time
people.
Go ahead, Alex.
Some people got injured too, and that's why they couldn't graduate. Like they got stress fractures. Like stress fractures is one of the most common injuries in basic training because people aren't used to the training.
Yeah, they become injured. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I've watched documentaries on that, like the Navy SEAL training and everything, where they'll break a leg or something, and that's not their fault. They're not kicked out. They have to heal up, and they got to go back through it again if they choose to.
Right.
Yeah, but the guy who had a cell phone, lying, screw ups like that. How many people in your class total went through the training with you?
When we showed up to basic training, there was 212 of us, and 180 graduated.
212 out of 212, 180 graduated. Okay, well that's pretty good numbers actually. I know in the SEALs, out of 100, only 12 graduate.
It's not really that hard. It's just do what you're told. That's all it is.
Yeah. I watched a lot of documentaries on that, and you and I talked about this over the Thanksgiving weekend, and you're right. Do what you're told, do what you're supposed to, and try. And most times you'll make it through, right? Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Now, what about educational standpoint? I mean, how, like, for instance, you have to know how to read and write. I mean, how about people? I mean, is there any idiots in there that don't know anything about nothing? I mean, what type of educational background do you have to be in the Army or go through that type of regiment to graduate?
Can you ask me that question again? I was interrupted.
What, like, for instance, what type of educational, like, experience or a background do you have to go through that regiment? I mean, do you have to have some sort of educational or educated mindset to pass what you went through? I mean, like, for instance, people who don't know nothing about nothing, who could barely read and write, could they make it through this type of training, or is it just all physical?
Well, to get into the Army, you have to take the ASVAB, and you have to get a certain score on it, but there were some pretty stupid people in basic training, so.
Okay, I understand. So basically a lot of it is physical, correct? And mental capability, right?
Right.
Okay, well, hey, that's good. And in your graduating class, now, out of the 180 people, what happens? You're all divided and sent all over the world stationed, or do you all go to one place, which is Fort Hood, Texas?
No, we all went to different places. There was about 10 of us that went to Fort Hood. And then
some
people went to Korea, some people went to Germany.
Wow. So, okay. So some people are, so you're divided up, your graduation class is all divided up, and some people are sent to Korea, some Germany, some, bases all around the world. Wow. And you're going to stay in the United States, is that correct?
Right. My permanent duty station is Fort Hood.
Your permanent duty is in Fort Hood. Wow, that's pretty good. Now, you heard what I said in the beginning. I don't know if you're allowed to talk about it or not, but I'm sure that people still talk about it there in Fort Hood, the shooting that happened there a couple of years ago. Can you tell me anything about that? Like, do people still talk about that? Have they taken new precautions? For instance, I know a lot of people were complaining, hey, soldiers aren't allowed to carry their guns. I mean, and walk around with their guns. I mean, that's crazy. So, I mean, can you explain, like, why something like that would happen on an Army base? Are you there, Alex? Hello, Alex, are you there?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. My question, did you hear my question?
I heard part of it.
All right, let me say it again. What had happened a couple of years ago, that major attack where a mass shooter came into Fort Hood, or he was in Fort Hood, he was a soldier, and he started shooting soldiers, his fellow soldiers. Have they talked to you about that, or has there been extra precautions taken now so it would not happen again?
They haven't really said anything about it, but they're really strict on letting people into the base, like on post. Like they have security guards out front with guns, and they have dogs out there to make sure no weapons get on base or anything.
All right, are you allowed to carry your firearm on base?
No, they're locked up.
They're locked up. So you're not allowed to carry a firearm. So what I'm trying to say is that was a big issue, is why can't soldiers be allowed to carry their sidearm or their firearm while they're on base? And that was a big issue because, you know, I mean, if you wanted to, I don't know if you can answer the question or not because I don't want to get you in trouble, but if you could you get access to a firearm?
I don't think so. Probably not.
Okay, all right. Okay.
I think if you have a registered sidearm, you can carry it. You just have to fill out paperwork and carry it around with you.
Oh, okay. So you're able to carry a firearm if you want to. You have to register to do it, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
All right. Okay. All right. So like I said, so if you were, and like I said, I don't want to get you in trouble, but if you're a whack job or like the guy who did this, who committed these shootings, if you wanted to get a sidearm and fill out the paperwork, you can get one, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at. So that doesn't seem too safe to me. Don't you feel vulnerable that I don't know, what type of character or fellow soldiers you have there, because this happened a couple of years ago. An individual who was a soldier obtained a firearm and started shooting his fellow soldiers. I mean, aren't you worried about your safety there?
No, not really. It's the same thing as civilian world. Anybody can be crazy and kill people.
Well, yeah, that's true. All right, I don't want to push that subject because I feel like maybe I might hit a red. And I know they're listening to these cell phone conversations because you're in the military and you're in the Army. I don't want to get you in trouble. Do you want to say hello to any of your family or friends out there?
I've talked to just about everybody.
I have John listening. I have your grandmother listening. I've got Joe and Mary and your grandfather listening. I can go right down the line. And I have Bridget from Reedsville listening. So if you want to say hello to anybody, or if someone wants to talk to Alex, you need to press 1 now because he doesn't have much time left. And I know you got a lot of background noise there too, so you got to be careful. Any noise in the background just cuts the call. All right, I got 2 people that want to say hello right now to you real quick. So I'm gonna connect them. Okay, this is Wallingford, Connecticut. I think this is John. Hello, how you doing?
Hey, what's up, Joe? What's up, Alex?
Hey, what's up, John?
What's up?
What do you want to say to Alex real quick? Because I got a couple other people who want to say hello to him, John.
I just want to say that I'm very proud of you, dude, for what you're doing for this country, man.
All right, thank you.
All right.
You still going to join the Army?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, basically
Alex.
it's not that bad. The first 3 days are the worst.
Yeah.
Alex, John, hey Alex, John's been on the show a couple times, and he's told the people that are listening, because John, he was looking for work, and like he said, he's living day to day out there, and we tried to help him find a job, but he said, yeah, that's his main goal, to join the Army.
That's good. It's a good thing to do.
All right, John, real quick, anything else? Because I'm going to connect the next caller.
That's it.
All right, John, thanks. Hey, Alex, I don't know if it's you, but someone with the background noise, you have to be careful because you can't hear the people calling in. I'm going to go ahead and mute John, and then I'm going to connect to the next one on the line. This is Meriden, Connecticut. Go ahead, Meriden.
Hey, Joe. Hi, Alex. We're proud. We're all proud of you, especially your accomplishments over these past 3.5 months. It's nice to hear you're doing well.
Thank you.
And I want you to know that I'll be joining the Army with you.
Okay.
I don't think they let people like you in.
Well, no, I'm gonna be a guard post.
Yeah, sure. All right, listen, one more real quick. One more, because Alex said he has to go because he has a certain time he has to eat dinner, and that's at 5:30. So he's got a couple more minutes. So I got one more, and then we'll carry on with the show. Go ahead, Elizabeth Rondo. This is Elizabeth Rondo in Yaleville. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex. It's Granny.
Hey, Granny.
You really sound good. It sounds like you have a dog in the background.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
It sounds like a dog. So, but do you like it there?
Yeah, it's nice. Texas is nice. It's a lot better than Georgia.
Good. And the Patriots are on.
I know. They were winning.
That's his favorite football team, the Patriots. Yeah.
The Eagles just made another score.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Are you allowed to watch? Are you allowed to watch the news and sports there while you're on the base?
Yeah, we can do whatever we want, pretty much.
Really? So it's like a little city, right?
Yeah, it's pretty big. It's like 214,000 acres or something like that.
How many people on base? How many people estimate? How many people you say on the base?
I don't know, a lot.
I mean, what? 5,000, 10,000?
Probably like 25,000.
25,000 people. Wow, that's like a little city. Wow. Now, Alex, real quick, because I know you said you had to go, and I'm not going to keep you because I don't want you to miss your dinner. But real quick, because this is important for the people that are listening. What's the morale of the soldiers in the Army today? What's their viewpoint or their morale about the way the country is going today?
A lot of people don't really talk about it, but you could tell, like, because we're not allowed to talk about the government or anything like that because we work for the government. So
yeah,
you could just tell, like, a lot of people are, like, upset with how the country's going.
Okay, you just said something very important. You're not allowed to talk about the government. Is that like a basic rule that they tell you you cannot disrespect the president, commander-in-chief himself? You cannot talk anything negative or subversive against the government. Is that a rule?
Yes, that's a rule. Like, you can't go on Facebook and post something bad about the president.
All right, so I don't want to tinker with that subject any, because I don't want to get you in trouble. But back to my basic question, which I know you could answer. So the morale of the troops, or the fellow Army privates on base with you, they're very disgusted with the way the country's going, right?
Right.
Okay. Well, hey, we all kind of figured that anyway, and that was an important question. Well, Alex, I know you said you got to go. I know there's 4 minutes left till your dinner time, so I don't want you to miss your dinner time. And I try to get everybody in as possible to talk to you. I advertise your name on the show for people to say hi to you, and I know there's a couple other people, but you don't have time. I know that. But hey, say something real quick. You want to say about the show, or you want to say hello to anybody who's not listening, because this show is archived. Go ahead and do it real quick, and then I'll close it out with you.
Okay. Well, thanks for having me on the show. I wish I could stay on longer. I just got to get going. I don't want to be late.
Okay. I understand, Alex. All right.
Nice hearing you, Alex.
What was that?
It was nice to hear you.
Oh, yeah. Nice
Same
talking to you,
here,
too.
Alex. Go and eat.
All right,
Alex,
take it easy. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. You can go ahead and hang up. Appreciate you. Appreciate you taking the time to call in. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye, Alex.
See you.
Take care.
Okay, well, that's Alex. I just muted him, and he's hanging up. So, that's Alex.
On Fort Hood, there are 41,360 active duty. There's 262,000 retirees, and there's 19,300 civilians.
Wow, that's in Fort Hood. So that's a city, basically. Exactly.
Yep. And if you want to call the base operator there to verify, it's 254-287-1110.
Wow. And you see, I didn't want to get Alex into trouble because what did he say at the end there? And I kind of already knew that, and I'm going to tell you right now, you know they're listening to his cell phone. You know it. And I didn't want him to say anything slanderous towards the government because, hey, he told it. It's a rule. You cannot speak out against the commander-in-chief or the government. It's a rule. So, I didn't want to get him in trouble, but I think we kind of read between the lines what he said. People are not happy in the Army. They're not happy with the way things are going, and just like the citizens of the United States, and we talk about it here on this show. So that was very interesting. But while I got a couple people on the line, if you want to say anything real quick, and anyone else who wants to contribute or call in, let me see here. I got well, they hung up. The phone number is 657-383-0616. You call in, you'll be connected to the show. To talk, you have got to press 1. Okay, and then through the next to the number, I'll see a question mark, and I'll go ahead and connect you. So right now I have 3 people on the line. I got John in Wallingford. I muted him, but I can connect him live again. I'll do that now if he wants to talk. And then I got Joe in Meriden, and I got Elizabeth Rondo in Wallingford. And then I know I got, I see the top supporters of the show. I got Joe in Sebastian, Florida. I got Mike out in Wisconsin. I got Bridget in Reedsville. And for some reason, Joe in Florida has 2 numbers here. His number has come up twice. Why, I do not know. But, hey, if anyone else wants to contribute, go ahead. And the people that are on the line right now, say what you got to say. I appreciate it if you would.
So what do you think about my idea about these all these refugees coming from Syria and everything?
What idea is that?
Well, first of all, when they get here, it's mandatory that we baptize them.
What the fuck?
Okay.
I don't think that'll go over too well.
Well, it doesn't go over too good either when they pull a gun out and shoot you in the head. And then we can make them all take diversity classes, gays and lesbians. We'll have them do that.
Well, that's it. But you see, you can't. That violates the Constitution. You can't force them to be baptized because that would violate.
They're not American citizens. They're not American citizens. They don't have a Constitution.
Well, that's true. How does that apply? Does anyone know? Actually, that's an interesting question. Does constitutional rights apply to someone coming into the country, or do they have to actually become a U.S. citizen before they enjoy those rights? That's very interesting. I never asked that question.
Well, it said right in there, and I don't remember it off the bat, but if they're not obligated to follow any laws of this country because they're not a citizen, so therefore nothing would apply to them.
Well, let me ask this, because John is from Portugal. John, are you still there?
Yes.
John, when did you move to the United States? Were you born here, or did you move here from Portugal?
I moved here from Portugal.
Okay. When you moved here, how did you obtain citizenship?
Well, I believe you have to, come, to America and go back to Portugal, 3 weeks at a time. And then, you gain, the green card and stuff like that.
So what you're saying is you have to come here to America, apply for your citizenship, then go back to Portugal, wait until you receive your green card, and then come back as a citizen. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's a going-on process. You got to go back to your own country and then come back, then do it all over again.
Really? What's the?
Yeah.
I mean, okay. And what kind of questions? What I'm trying to get at is do you enjoy the rights as an American citizen while you're going through that process?
Well, I
you
was
know?
I was very young, so I don't know.
Okay, all right, you don't know. Okay, I understand. That's an honest question. Whoever's making noise in the background, you got to stop, please. So, that's an interesting question. So, what you said, Joe, you said have them baptized before they can become an American citizen. I wonder about that, if that's legal or not.
And diversity training, and also we're going to sprinkle them with holy water.
Well, now you're becoming that's a conflict between the many different religions, because being a Baptist and a Catholic is two different things. But Baptists don't sprinkle themselves with holy water.
Well, if they're that devoted to their Koran and everything, then they won't have anything to do with what I want. And if they're really coming here with their refugees, then they'll thank God that we're doing it to them.
Well, that's true, but there's too many liberals in this country that'll disagree with you. Look, I mean, we're trying to defund Planned Parenthood for selling baby parts. What, do you really think that we're going to stop people from coming from over to this country illegally?
Well, that's because your elected officials are still supporting Planned Parenthood regardless of what they do. We've got Elizabeth Esty here who keeps bombarding me with emails, and when it was all this big talk about Planned Parenthood and everything, I wrote her back and told her what I thought about it and everything, and you know what? They don't care.
No, they don't. They give you a computer. They give you a computer-generated message that they send out to everyone. Thank you for contacting Congressman so-and-so. We will be in touch with you very soon. Your concerns are very important to us. If you have any questions further, please do not hesitate to contact our office. They all say the same thing. So nobody's actually read it.
That's right.
That's right. And it's a joke. And we as Americans should be disgusted and upset. And like Joe in Sebastian, Florida, what did he say last week? He said, contact your congressman, contact your senator. Hey, it's worth a shot. If everyone bombarded them with mail and emails and went to their office and demanded answers, I would imagine that they would have no other choice but to address the concerns of the people. I mean, don't you agree?
Well, yeah, let's face it. They're in there for the money, and if they're not in there, then they won't be getting the money.
Well, but what I'm saying is, if there's, I mean, imagine 5,000 people showing up at the governor's office saying, "Hey, I want an answer to what the hell's going on here." They would have to address those concerns one way or the other. And like John, for instance, in Wallingford, from the younger generation. The younger generation, John, while you're in school or in high school or hanging out with your friends, does anyone ever talk about the magnitude of what is happening or the negativity that is happening in America today? I know you sent me a message a few weeks ago about a white woman being slapped across the face by a black man and the black man laughing at it, and they were glamorizing that video because that's how it is today, because the white man is a punk and the blacks are superior. I mean, according to social media and that video you sent me. Okay, so can you address that or answer my question? Do younger people today talk about what is happening in America, or do you just not know or care?
Well, I don't know. Well, sometimes,
okay.
I don't know.
Well, here's three things. First of all, I talked about this a number of weeks back about making our own website dedicated to finding the truth of these things and actually putting them in front of, actually having people, not really, but on the website arrested in front of a grand jury, trial, and incarceration or execution or whatever the case may be and everything. But let me ask you this: we're talking about the people having an uproar and finding the truth. What's the real story behind JFK? You don't know. What's the real story behind 9/11? You don't know that either. So you know what? Doesn't matter what the people say.
Well, that's true. And what did John just say? I don't know. Right. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. What I'm saying is, I just answered my own question with his response. The younger generation today, they're more worried about what's happening on Facebook or Twitter or MTV or the latest new music that's coming out, and they're not worried about what's going on in Congress or the Senate, that they're passing laws, John, that are saying and making you an enemy combatant of the United States, and they can detain you, arrest you without any rights or privileges whatsoever, and they can detain you indefinitely if they label you as an enemy combatant. Okay? So, you know, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to, you know, and you may think it's funny or you may take it seriously, but the fact of the matter is you're going to go to school tomorrow, and the students in your class and the people in your school are not, like you just said, really don't know what's going on, and they don't care. As long as they got that, as long as they get to eat, as long as they have a couple dollars in their pocket, as long as we can have a good time, that's all that matters. And that's America today. So we've talked about this many times.
Speaking of America today, see, we could fix most all of these problems relatively easily. The problem is that they don't want us to fix these problems. And the way you could fix it easily, these refugees coming in and everything, first of all, I'm sure if you got every officer, every police officer, every sheriff, every deputy to actually go after these people, and they had the authority to do so, we'd get to the bottom of all this nonsense real quick. And speaking of these people, their pay is next to nothing for what they do every day. So that needs to be taken care of first. And once you give your senators are getting $190,000 a year, and they don't even show up for work half the time. None of these cops or whatever are making that amount of money unless they're working 16 to 24 hours a day, and then they're making $250,000 a year, sure. But they don't even have time to eat to do that. So you got to pay them better too. You pay them better, and you let them have the upper hand. And you take it one step further with the grand jury or whatever for the ones that do get out of hand, and we'd have a much better place here.
Well, no. Well, the problem is it really is the federal government's responsibility to secure the borders, and the federal. It's not the local sheriffs or police departments to secure the borders or address immigration. That is one of the responsibilities of the federal government, and the federal government's policy.
I'm not talking about securing the borders. I'm talking about taking care of business that's inside the borders.
Well, okay, but I'm just saying you have to start with the borders. You got to stop these people from coming in here to begin with before you can even address the people that are already here. What are we going to do? We're going to take care of the people that are here? Yeah, we're going to send them back, and they're going to come back over again. So we got to shut down the border first, you know?
well, I see your point there, and of course you're accurate, but you know, that should already be taken care of. I was going to say it could be taken care of real easily, and it should already be taken care of. The problem is that they don't want it taken care of.
That's true, but I got Mike who wants to call in tonight, so I'm going to put Mike on the line. Mike from Wisconsin. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, good evening, Joe.
We can barely hear you, Mike.
Hi, Mike.
The subject, and I'm thinking about, you know, this terrorist plot that just happened in California. You know, what's the first thing the government did after it happened? They want to take away your firearms. You know, and you know that's one right that we have. If we don't have any firearms, who's going to have them?
Mike, your volume is very low. Very low. We can barely hear you. I don't know what's going on there. Okay. But anyway, I heard what he said.
I'm sorry. It was my fault.
That's better.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, what I was saying is you know, right after this incident that happened in California, you know, the first thing our government said is, you know, let's take away individuals' firearms. They wouldn't even say that it was terrorism or anything. It's like, oh, you got to get rid of guns. And it's like, you know, that's one right we have. And that, you know, they take away all the rights that we have, that, you know, down on the lower levels, you know, by, you know, your town voting on stuff and stuff and, you know, things like that.
Well, Mike, you just talked about firearms. Hang on. Now let's get back to the younger person here who's on the panel here tonight, John Wallingford. How do you feel about guns and firearms, John?
I don't know. I don't need one, but
you don't need one. Okay. All right. Well, if you feel you don't need one, but don't you? I mean, if you wanted to buy one, don't you feel you should have the right to buy one?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, John feels. Why do you feel you don't need a firearm?
Well, I'm kind of a hard-headed person, I guess. Like, I just use my hands, I guess, so.
All right. So if someone's breaking into your house, say for instance, you're at home with your wife, you get married in a couple of years, you have a child, and the criminals always are able to obtain a firearm. They bust in through a window, and they have guns. Criminals have guns. And how do you expect to defend yourself? I mean, are you going to call 911? I mean, what do you, how, you know, I'm just putting you on the spot here. I mean, what, you feel that you don't need one. What's that?
I would just go to my kitchen and grab a knife. I mean, it's not that hard.
I understand what you're saying. But go ahead,
you better hope you get him with that first throw.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, I will.
And let me tell you something. You get one of these big 295-pound guys strung out on something or whatever, and you stick him with a knife. You know what he's going to do? He's going to pull it out and come and get you.
Yeah.
When they take away our right to bear arms, the United States of America will be like every other third world cesspool around the world. And that's why these people are going after places where people cannot defend themselves. These people over here, they're committing this stuff in Paris and in California. They remind me of the people that live around here. 17 of them will come and attack you, but one of them will never come and attack you. They have to have a whole bunch of their buddies. In other words, they've got no guts.
Well, yeah, that's true. They don't have any courage. And like I told John, criminals are always able to obtain firearms if they choose to. The point what I'm trying to make is that see, John, what I'm trying to say is back years ago, it used to be a law. You had to own a firearm, okay? Every American was part of the militia, okay? If you read the Second Amendment, I know they don't teach you in high school anymore about the United States Constitution, but every United States citizen was just called upon a member of the militia, and they were actually required to own a rifle or a musket back then. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is America was founded in historical perspective here. If you read history, it's not my opinion, it's fact. America was founded on God, guns, and guts. That's what built this country. God, guns, and guts. Not knives, not you boxing them, not me calling 911, not relying on the police department. It was God, guns, and guts. And actually, to be honest with you, John, the police department actually is not required to protect you, okay? It's not really their job to protect you. So, you know, and what I'm trying to say is they don't teach you guys this stuff in school. You have to go out and research it and search for yourselves. But, John, obviously you're not an avid supporter of guns, are you? I mean, do you support gun control, or are you just neutral?
Neutral.
You're neutral. Okay. So if they were to ban guns in the United States, say if Obama signed an executive order that said, hey, no more guns, American citizens are not allowed to own guns, it wouldn't bother you one way or the other, correct?
Well, it kind of would, because, I mean, why are you going to ban them if, like, all right, let me just go with this. All right, if somebody were to kill somebody with a gun, right, it's their fault, right, because they're using the gun. And, like, you're going to take somebody's rights away just because somebody killed somebody for no reason, so everybody got to suffer for that reason.
Okay, the point you're trying to make is why pass gun control laws because of these massacres? Why should the law-abiding average daily citizen suffer because of a few bad apples? That I understand what you're saying there. But the point I'm trying to make is if the nation as a whole or the government, your government, that you obey every day said, hey, nobody's going to own guns anymore, nobody, what would you say to that?
I would say, I don't know. I mean, I don't really care.
You did say you were neutral. Okay, so you don't understand why it is so important for the individual American to own a firearm or to preserve the Second Amendment right that is granted by them, by God, not government. okay? All rights are unalienable, granted by God. Life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, not the government. The government does not grant you your rights. God does. All right? That's what the Constitution says and the Bill of Rights. But John is neutral on that. So anyone else want to reply to that? Because this is John, who's a teenager in America. He lives in Wallingford, Connecticut, and he's called in, and he's a friend of mine. He's a supporter of the show. So I disagree with his standpoint of being neutral, but it doesn't mean I dislike him. But what do you think? I got Mike.
What I want to know is why in March of 2013 did Homeland Security buy 1.6 billion rounds of ammo? Why in 2014 did DHS again get 62 million rounds? Why did Social Security buy 9 million rounds of armor-piercing ammunition? Where is this stuff being stored, and what's its final purpose?
Well, that's true. What's the agenda? Well, if you go to the Army Times or you look up the Army website, they're already planning. I mean, didn't I post several videos, or didn't I play audio? John liked one of them, The Madness of a Law Society. People trampling each other on Black Friday for $98 laptops and $40 toasters. So what happens when there's no food on the shelves? That's why they bought billions of rounds of ammunition, because, hey, people like John, they're neutral. Hey, whether we got guns or not, it's not important. And I'm not trying to put John down, but that's the way a lot of people think today. I don't need one. Why should I have a gun? Why? I mean, I have 911. I can lock my door. Why? So a lot of people are scared of guns. So what I'm trying to say is that's the mindset of a lot of people. So, what happens when you get a mob of people when there's no more food or the economy crashes, which a lot of people say, you're crazy, that's never going to happen. But we look at Black Friday, people act like animals over a sale. What happens if there is no more food on the shelves? What happens? Well, I mean, you grew up in the 70s, Joe. What happened during the gas shortages when you had to stand in line for gas? What happens during civil disobedience or civil unrest? What do people do? Don't you want to be able to protect yourself and your family? I would want to. I mean, what do you think?
You see, if it's mandated like that, like in 73 or 72, whatever year it was, when we had the gas crisis and everything, and with Nixon and all that, you find ways around it, that's all. And I'm sure they did it years ago, too. These problems have been coming and going since the beginning of time. And, these threats of this, these threats of that and everything, they've been coming and going since the beginning of time. But they are making progress. And it's like I said on shows past, it takes a long time for them to enact this stuff.
Well, yes, because the foundation that the founding fathers of this country set forth for us, the Constitution, is a very powerful document. And the United States, you have a lot of people out there, and you say it's going to take them a long time. You want to know why? Because of people like me. People like the other supporters of this show, I'm not going to make names. People out there people like Rand Paul, people out there standing up against the military-industrial complex. Once those people are gone and they finally weed us all out, they're going to steamroll you like no tomorrow. You're going to see progress really happen. So, that's what I'm trying to say here, because people are fighting against it. You say, it's not going to happen tomorrow. Yeah, because there's people out there speaking against it. They're standing up against it. If we did it, what the heck do you think would happen? I mean, I just don't know any other way to put it. But what do you think, Mike?
Well, what do you think about the people that saw all the deliveries to that house, one right after another, and they were afraid to even say anything because they didn't want to be profiled?
What house? What are you talking about?
Out in California.
Okay.
The UPS deliveries were coming and coming and coming and coming, and people were like, what's going on? These only one person's working in this family, and this guy's getting, packages every day. And
well, that's what I said. That's what I said. I said, you can't even go out in your backyard and take a piss anymore without your neighbors seeing you. So how the heck did they get all these bombs and pipe bombs and explosives into their house without anyone seeing, you know?
I don't, I know this probably doesn't concern this subject, but it always seems like something like this happens when something in government is becoming too popular to the forefront. You know,
Bingo.
like somebody's
Bingo,
emails
Mike. Bingo.
or.
Mike, let me say this, Mike. I talked to somebody about this. What were we talking about 3 weeks ago? The Syrian refugees. That was a huge news story. All these refugees coming into America. No way, everyone was saying. And now what do we get out in California? A couple Middle Eastern shoot up a social services, shoot people up. All of a sudden, we're not talking about that refugee problem anymore, are we?
No, not at all.
Yeah, very interesting. You know? So, maybe there is something to this that we don't know about. Who knows?
I believe there is. I believe there's a lot to it we don't know about, and if we leave it up to that place in Washington D.C., the District of Criminals, they'll tell you that those boxes were probably all delivered by accident.
Yeah.
And they were meant for another address.
Yeah, true.
And what do you do then? You see, what do you do then? You see, because all they got to do is say something.
That's true. But anyway, hey guys, if you want to go ahead and close it out for us, because my main topic tonight was my nephew Alex from Fort Hood, Texas. He was on the show for 30 minutes. So those of you that called in late, you missed him. He was on. He called in, and he took a couple calls and questions, and it was pretty good. It was very interesting. So the people on the line tonight, and if there's someone who wants to call in with something they have to say or talk about, then by all means do it. It's 657-383-0616, and then you have to press 1, and I'll connect you live. If not, we're going to really start getting ready to close it out. But Mike in Wisconsin, Joe in Meriden, Connecticut. I had Elizabeth Rondo in Wallingford, Connecticut. I muted her because I believe that's all she had to share. But Mike and Joe, you want to wrap it up for me, please?
I'm pretty much all set. It was nice to hear Alex. It appears as though he's maturing at a miraculous rate from a year and a half ago to where he is today. It's absolutely amazing. It was very nice to hear from him. I've spoken to him on the phone a while back. I don't know, a number of weeks ago, and I hope he'll call me again, or I'll call him.
Yeah, and we had some people in the chat room. I need somebody to help me out in the chat room because I'm monitoring the calls. I can't type in the chat room. That's why I asked some of the people live on the line to log into the chat room and help out with people that are asking questions. I had a couple new people that logged into the chat room and they were talking, and I can't handle the chat room, the calls, and talk on the at the same time. So
the only person I see in the chat room is me.
No, you had Pastor McKenzie who logged in, and then he logged out, and then you had one guest who logged in, and then it was you. Yeah, because I can scroll down and see the messages.
Well, I see a whole bunch of people logged in on the right, and they're all guests basically. But as far as typing goes, I've typed in 3 or 4 different things here, and that's the only thing I see.
Well, somebody did actually respond to you, actually. They did respond to you. It was Pastor McKenzie. He logged in. But he's logged out now. But anyway, hey.
Well, I don't see any of that, so,
I see it because, yeah.
Yeah, well, this is a blog talk issue, and it's like they're too busy trying to push these ads down to my browser. What they should be concerned about is making these things work properly.
Well, that's true. But also I want to remind people of your background noise. If you have you have a TV playing in the background, if you have someone talking, if you have a phone ring, I can hear it. And it blocks out the next guy who's talking. So if you're going to call in, you've got to make sure the background is completely quiet. I mean, you can hear a chair squeak. That's how sensitive these phones are. So, but anyway, Joe, you said you had nothing else to share. I had Mike. Thanks for sharing tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get ready to wrap it up. And thank you, Alex. I know he's logged out. He's going to go back and archive the last half of the show. Thanks, Alex, for calling in. I really appreciate it. And I'll have something, again, for us on Thursday. We'll have something new again. It seems like that's what's going on. Every week, every show, it seems like we have somebody new calling in or something new happening. So, hey, God bless and take care, everybody.
All right, bye-bye.
Good night.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
In Dallas, Texas, 3 shots were fired at President Kennedy's motorcade in downtown Dallas. The first reports say that President Kennedy has been seriously wounded by this shooting.
It is a big idea, a new world order.
It was almost as if it were a planned implosion. It just pancaked.
Either you were with us or you were with the terrorists.
But I also believe that a lot of gun owners would agree that AK-47s belong in the hands of soldiers, not in the hands of criminals.
Life presents such possibilities each and every day. I heard a calling that was right for me. I prayed for strength for what's ahead of me. Show me the way. Please show me the way. The sun rose high and burnt the night away. Who stood before me was my enemy. Don't tread on me. He's come to take away my liberties. I'd rather die than be a slave to thee. Don't treat me this way. I'd rather die than be your slave. I will survive. And you feel my rage. It's not a question of being brave. I'd rather die than be your slave. Didn't matter who shot first that day. They killed my brothers, they lay dead by me. We hit them hard, we made them pay that day. We hung the traitors from the highest tree to mercy from me. No mercy from me. We lost a lot, our pain was heavy. We sacrificed for God and country. No more colony. Still held the ground that was in front of me. This was the price to pay for liberty.